Hi, everyone. Welcome to my session today. I'm here with Seiko Cisco. Seiko, how are you?
Hi, Bonnie. I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to dive into what you have going on in your world. But before we get to it, will you just tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So, my name is Seiko Cisco. I am a stay-at-home slash homeschool mom right now to two little ones, and I have a side hustle handmade business that I work on weeknights and weekends. And I'm also starting my surface pattern design journey. So, I kind of have a few things going on.
Seiko, how old are your children?
They are 5 and 3 right
Yes, such a good
now.
age. It's busy, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how you got introduced into surface pattern design. Have you
Mhm.
always known about it? Did you discover it? Tell me about how you got started.
So, ever since I started my handmade business back in 2019, I make handmade baby shoes and gifts using beautiful fabric. And I really got into sewing, I think, because I loved working with fabric. So I kind of fell in love with that. And then I didn't know about surface pattern design like necessarily, but I saw like these designer names on the salvage of the
Mhm.
fabric. And I think I kind of just associated that with, okay, like someone designed this pattern that I love. And so, like, ever since I started my business, my handmade business, I had this like secret dream of one day, like, designing my own fabrics and, maybe one day having my name on, like, a roll of fabric. So, I kind
Yeah.
of, I think that's when it started for me, but I never like researched it. I thought it was like a dream that I would pursue, like, in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, like, just like a long term dream. So, and then I think magically came across like your workshop and your community. And I think that's when it, like, my mind just like started blowing up with all the possibilities. But yeah, that's kind of, I think, my love for fabric is kind of the starting point.
So I think that you shared with me that you were a beginner in terms of like designing and Adobe Illustrator. Is that right? So what was
Yes.
that
Yeah.
like coming
So,
into the course, opening the
right.
program for the first time and learning?
Yeah. So yeah, I had no like no formal like art or design degree. Like I think the last, art class was in high school. But I always loved drawing and I knew like it was in me. But yeah, I've never opened Adobe Illustrator before. I took your course and it definitely was a learning curve. But I kind of knew that like I knew your teaching style and I would be taken care of with all the support there was. But
Mhm.
it definitely was one area where I didn't feel like going through it myself. Like I I couldn't imagine like learning all of that without any guidance or support or like step by step. So I think that truly accelerated the fact that I was like able to go from like knowing absolutely nothing in terms of designing and how to make a pattern to actually having my patterns on like fabric and then product. So
Yes. Go. So tell me a little bit about what you've done in the past year.
sure. Yeah. So since immersion, I was able to complete my like first fabric collection. And I was able to then pick a few of those patterns and do a launch in my handmade business. I turned the fabric that I designed and I got them printed and I turned them into baby shoes and baby bibs. And I was able
Mm.
to do a launch like, of my exclusive original collection over on Waku Waku Baby, which is my business. And I was able to get that done like before the holidays. So it was really exciting to
Wow.
be able to like showcase it in person because I had a few holiday markets. And it was really cool to actually get feedback like right
Yeah.
away by people who are shopping. And in few cases, like they, stop by. I didn't necessarily tell them like, oh, this is what I designed, but then they like picked it out of all the other designs. So that was
Mhm.
like really exciting. Yeah. So that was,
And would you tell them?
and then
Would
yeah,
you tell them that it was yours?
yeah,
And so tell me what it feels like for
mhm.
someone to realize the design is yours and have chosen it. Or what
Yeah.
does it feel like to just have a product with your art on it for the first time?
That was like so amazing. It was really a dream come true. And I still remember the first time like the fabric came and I opened the package and like, like it's such a different feeling, like holding it in your hands compared
Mm.
to just seeing it on the screen. And and then yeah, when people actually like resonated with my patterns, like I really didn't know because I kind of designed it with like my own inspiration and just like my neighborhood walk with my kids, and
Mhm.
I drew it just the way I like, it was just like me on me on the pattern, so it's like
Yes.
who else would really relate to this? But it was like reassuring and it gave me confidence, like,
Mhm.
people actually do resonate with what I produce, and like people find joy in it the way I do. And so it was like everything. Like that really um helped me think like, okay, I might be able to do this and I want to just keep going.
Mm. Oh, Seiko, I'm so excited for you. Tell me about where you were. So you're
Mhm.
a 2022 alum, is that right?
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit about where you were this time last year when you were kind of in discovery mode and your mind was racing with all the possibilities, but
Yeah.
also I'm sure you had questions. So how did you feel?
Yeah. So I think I was overwhelmed a little
Mhm.
bit with like time. And that was my biggest challenge about pursuing something new, because I already had all these things I wanted to do for my handmade business. And it was still like relatively new for me. So, it wasn't like an established business. And I was already feeling like at my limit. So I
Yeah.
was like, how do I do something this big and introduce it in my life? So I think that was one of the struggles I was feeling. Like deep down, I knew I wanted to do it, and I didn't know like if it was the right time. And then I realized, I think, that like there was never gonna be a right time, and I I just didn't want to wait another year, and
Mm.
that helped me like reprioritize things and make it happen. But I think I was definitely unsure, like, I don't feel ready for it. Like, I think I initially thought I was gonna take immersion in 2023, so, like, I wanted to spend a whole year drawing. I was like, "I'm gonna prepare myself for," because I haven't, like, been drawing on a regular basis for, like, over
Yeah.
15 years, and I just felt so, like, I don't know if I'm ready, but I kept giving myself all these excuses, and I just realized, I just need to jump in and figure it out.
Seiko, you have done so much in the last year. I think I would love for you to think about like what would you tell someone who had a 2 and a 4-year-old and no real
Mhm.
experience? And do you have
Mhm.
any advice for her? And do you have any tips on how to work through the course with 2 little children?
That's a really great question. Yeah, so, ooh, I think I think it's just really important to kind of have a gut check on how important this is to you, and um, like put yourself first. Like I think
Mhm.
that's something I just wasn't doing for a few years. Like being a mom to two little ones, it's hard.
Yeah.
But I think like working through the free workshop really helped me with my mindset on that,
Mm.
that it's time to like really acknowledge my dreams and something I want to do and prioritize that. And I think so if that's, if your gut is telling you that, I would try to figure out how to make it work. So it was important for me to like, communicate to my husband that this is really something I'm excited about. This is my schedule and, ask him to help me more on certain things that he can do. And my handmade business took a little bit of a back seat during that time, but
Mhm.
that was my priority. And I was worried. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm not doing all these things." But in the end, like it all came together. So like
Mm.
at that time I was also worried about, am I going to have time for this? Like, but what's going to happen to all these other things? In the
Mm.
end, it actually helped my handmade business. Having my own designs and being able to talk about that and have more like stronger brand voice. I didn't work on my handmade business during that time. I was working on surface pattern design, but it
Mm.
actually helped me in the end. And another thing I want to point out is I didn't realize that how much pursuing something I love and like finding inspiration and every day, how that affected my family. And
Mm.
like now that I look back, it's been amazing. Like I think so much joy has come from like me pursuing this and being able to like share my inspiration with my kids and then get like, being inspired by my kids too. And like,
Yes.
it's been like my husband now draws like for fun. It's amazing. Like I didn't even know that he can draw. And so it's kind of this ripple effect that I
Mhm.
had no clue when I decided I'm going to go for this. And it's been all around like such a positive um, thing that came into like not just me, but my family. And yeah,
Wow.
so I would say definitely just like listen to your gut. If it's something you want to do, then you're going to be able to make it happen,
Mhm.
and everything will kind of work around it. So
Well,
that's
first
what
of
I would
all, big high five to your supportive husband. That is so
say. Yeah.
sweet. But I love what you touched on because it really is a ripple effect. I love how when you do pursue something that makes you happy, then it makes you a happier person. And thus, all the people around you are happier because of it as well.
Yeah.
And then they get inspired to do something that's
Mhm.
creative in whatever way that looks like for them too. So it's really, it's really a little bit of a secret to success in just life is do something that fills you up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Seiko,
definitely.
tell us about what's on the horizon for you. What are you excited about over the next year?
Yeah, so I'm definitely excited about continuing to like work on my design and building my portfolio. I want to make a few more collections and then, put together a website, a portfolio so I can get like ready to pitch to companies. That would be my big dream goal. So I think the next year I want to work towards that, and maybe in a year I'll be ready for pitching.
Yes.
So that's kind of my goal, and I definitely want to release like new collections for my handmade business. So my goal is to do maybe two more launches this year. That's featuring my original designs. Hmm.
Yes. Awesome. Tell everybody a little bit more about your business and where they can find you online.
Yeah, sure. So my handmade business is called Waku Waku Baby, and you can find Waku Waku Baby at wakuwakubaby.com. And so I have Instagram that's also at Waku Waku Baby, and I have a surface pattern design Instagram that's just my name, Seiko Cisco. And hopefully I'll have a website for surface pattern design soon.
Okay, so let's spell that just in case someone is only
Oh,
listening to the audio. It's WAKU, is that right?
yes, it's WAKU.com.
Waku Waku Baby. And then why don't you spell Seiko Cisco? Because that's what you are on Instagram, right?
But yes, it is SeikoSisco.
Perfect. Seiko, you are just incredible. My cheeks are hurting. I've smiled so much this whole time. I'm so excited for what you've done. I'm so excited for your upcoming year. And just thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Bonnie. It was a pleasure.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.